You're listening to the God Life Culture Podcast, where faith
and what's trending collide. Welcome to the latest episode of the God Life Culture Podcast. This is Eddie.
What's up, everyone? This is Miguel, and you are listening to the God Life Culture Podcast. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the God Life Culture Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed today's conversation and that you subscribe so you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. We are in the middle of our summer schedule, right?
Yeah.
Where we're going to be releasing episodes every other week. So every other Monday, we'll have a new episode as we're taking some time, right, to enjoy the summer and enjoy all the beautiful things that are coming along with it, such as
dun, dun, dun.
our birthdays.
Yes.
Our birthdays are 5 days apart. My birthday is June 4th.
Yes, and I'm June 9th.
And we are also 5 years apart.
Yes.
I am 30.
And I'm 35.
Yeah, so our birthdays
We're
were
also
last
5
week.
feet apart. No, imagine just kept going with the 5.
Yeah, I'm the taller one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, yeah, we...
I'm saying like a distance. I was talking about height. It's okay.
Well, so, you know, the idea of turning 30, right? 30 is a big number and 35 is a big number. Right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So 35, you're 5 years from 40. And I just turned 30, right?
You're 5 years from 35. That's math.
So it's one of those things where I think when, you know, it's always a thing where like a few months before you're 30, everyone's like, oh, when they find out, oh, you're going to be 30. Wow. How do you feel? Like, I remember my dad's 30th birthday party was a surprise birthday party in, you know, the backyard of our house. So that's like a scary thought, you know? And now entering my 30s, right? This new decade, I don't know. I think I understand where people come from when they're like, whoa, like 30, like it's, you know, my students all think like that's like, wow, like you're 30, you know? But I think it comes with a certain level of not only confidence, but just like, I don't know, like a level of like experience, I guess, right? Like, you know, you go through things in your 20s and you kind of bring that into like, you know, you've learned a lot of lessons, you've been through a lot of things, highs and lows, good and bad, and it's like now it's your opportunity to kind of bring this into your 30s, into your next decade of life, and, you know, for like the new challenges that are up ahead and the new things you have to confront. I don't know. I think when you hit a certain age, you feel a little more, I don't want to say powerful, but I think ready, right? To like deal with certain things or handle certain things that come your way. And, you know, obviously entering 30s and, you know, being a father now as well is something that it's going to change the game completely, you know, where it'll be completely different than my 20s. But what do you think about 35?
You know, I think I've said it before. The age number thing really isn't something that trips me out. You know, usually it's just a number to me. You know, I've told you this many different times. I still operate under the idea that I'm still in my early 20s. You know, like I don't feel 35. You know, there's certain moments in life and certain things that happen that makes me feel like, oh, snap, you're 35. But I'm not like one of those people that walks around like, oh, I'm 35, I'm almost 40, or look at age as something that's negative. I don't think either of us are those type of people. So the number itself isn't something that scares me. I think that, you know, what I do that sometimes comes out as funny is I try to think about when I was 15, who was 35? And then thinking about how did they look? Like, you know, like did I think at 15 that 35 was ancient? Like your high school students are doing whatever.
Okay, they're not thinking it's ancient. Okay. They're just thinking like, wow, 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that those are the things that I think about because I don't feel old. So even though when I was 15 and I thought like 30, 35, I was like, oh, those are like grown folks. Those are like old. That's middle age. Technically kind of is. You know, but now being in that realm and being in that vicinity, it doesn't feel that way. I do say that when I don't look at the number as being something negative, it does get scary when you think about how fast time has passed. Yeah. You know, especially because I'm the type of person that I don't operate in a space where I think I'm 35, but when you sit down and think about, ooh, snap, you're 35.
What space do you operate in?
I just operate in a space that I just feel good. Like I feel fine.
Alive.
I'm alive. I'm good. I'm just doing my thing or whatever. It's not like something that I operate in. But when I do think about the idea that, man, you're 35, you're going to be 40, and I start doing the calculations in 10 years, my kids are going to be this and that or whatever, and I'm going to be that. Like, that's the realm where I start to get like, oh, that's like weird. It's like trippy.
Yeah.
When you start to think about, oh, in 20 years, I'll be 55. You know, my oldest will be 27. My youngest will be 23. Like, that's weird, right? That's crazy. Yours will be 20.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be 50. So that's like the area in which I get like, that's where our mind goes. And I start thinking about the most random things. But I am very appreciative of being 35. I think it's an age where before turning 35, I started making certain changes in my life, and I did certain things in my life because I want to set myself up to be a better me than I was for the last 35 years. So with that comes new decisions I have to make. With that comes new opportunities that you need to take advantage of. There's certain things that you need to cut out. There are other things that you need to implement. And that's what I look at as for me for 35, which is an opportunity for me to turn a new page, turn a new leaf, as they say, and just try to be a better person that I have been the last 35 years.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, we're very much, supporters of the idea of self-reflection, right? And sitting back and reflecting and thinking about, whatever it is that we're talking about. In this case, your life, right? And sitting back and thinking about like the last 30 years for me and for you, 35 years, right? Sometimes it's difficult because the low moments sometimes seem to be the things that some people remember the most, right? When you sit back to reflect, a lot of times the bad moments or the bad things are the ones that come to mind first, right? Because they did have such an impact. But there's also so much good that happened. And there's also so much good. And just the fact that you are still alive and just the fact that you are still here and just the fact that you have, new opportunities and, age and, turning older in a new year doesn't give you like, that fresh start, right? Yeah. But I think in our minds, it does. We don't need to turn 30 or 35 to like turn a new leaf or have a second chance at something or reach our goals. We can start that when we're 31 and a half, but it's one of those things where I think mentally it does something in us.
Yeah. It
where
puts
we
things
feel
in perspective in a way where, it's a time where you're like, oh man, time's flying by. Things are getting, people are getting older. I'm getting older.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it. So it's kind of like, if you're smart about it, sometimes you have those moments where it's like an epiphany that happens. You're like, oh man, is there anything that I feel like I haven't done yet that I really wanted to do? Is there anything that I have in my life that's a bad habit that I need to stop? Is there anything like, you start like just hopefully going through all the mental files of your life where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna try to make the effort that for this next chapter I'm gonna do something different. People call that New Year's resolutions and people call that all this other stuff or whatever, but if being reaching a new age provokes that in you, lights that fire in you to do it, then absolutely go right ahead.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself wanting to relive certain eras of life or like specifically like eras when it comes to time, like the 90s or like things like for instance, the reason why I'm asking is because for me, one of the things that I've been looking forward to, not only in having, our baby boy, but the fact that I'm like so ready to watch all of the Disney movies with him, all the things that I did as a kid, right? So like my inner 90s child and all the things and like, cartoons on Saturdays. Right now we just got Disney Plus. So it's like all of those things where it's like, oh, like I remember watching this as a kid. I can't wait, right, for us to sit down and watch this together. I can't wait for him to have this experience. I can't wait, and just those little things. Like I'm even like it may sound OD, but I'm even thinking about like some of the snacks I used to have as a kid, right? And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's still out there, right? Like Dunkaroos, like it's still out there.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean? They are. I see that. Like I can't wait, right, to go back into that. And one of the things that I think as you get older, you begin to realize or tap into are some of those things in your childhood that did bring you joy, right? Where it may not be something you can just do randomly, right? But now in having a child and having a kid, you're able to do that, You know what I mean? Whether it's like for me growing up as a kid, I loved Legos and loved building things with Legos. That's something that I can't wait to do, right? And it's just funny because you would think like, oh yeah, you know, you're 30, 31, 32, whatever, like, you know, who's interested in doing that? But it's just certain things that, or experiences that are tied to memories, right? And certain hobbies that are tied to memories, or movies that are tied to memories that you have that bring you joy, that now you can kind of recreate in your life in a different way, in a fresh way, right? Where it's more personal for you, right? I remember the experiences I had with my parents growing up and just birthday parties and those things like that, where now it's almost like my turn to be able to do that with my child in doing it, you know, in my way, you know? Very and true. I think that it not just in family or with children, but just with you as you get older, there's certain things that you are able to now do that with, where there's certain experiences you had growing up where maybe now it's going to look different, it's going to be different, but you can tap into that creativity somehow. Find something that you enjoy doing that kind of brings you back to that child, right? Your inner child. And you hear that, right? Unleash your inner child. And it's something that I think it does bring you a certain level of joy, right? It does bring you a certain level of satisfaction to do those things again.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think that just for me, my experiences is very different from yours. But I have found great opportunities to do things with, you know, nostalgic things, because we're on the subject of kids, with my boys that are great. But I think that I've also taken the opportunity to do things with them that I never got to experience. You know, so like my kids are in swimming, and my kids do, you know, they were in my oldest was in basketball, you know, did a basketball clinic. And, you know, I like to put my kids in things that I didn't have the opportunity to do, especially if they're interested in it. You know, my kids swear that they are Aquaman, and they're not. They do not know how to swim yet.
Right.
You know, so because of the fact that they have a love and a passion for that, and I also love going to the pool and stuff like that as well, it's kind of like, all right, let's get you in swimming classes for your safety and my peace of mind. But it was like, I didn't get to do that as a kid. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do that with them as well. You know, I don't know. I think that I don't think that I do the same thing you do, which is like pre-plan, like, oh man, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do that. But I do find myself having moments of, oh, I remember when this was a thing, or I remember when I used to do this, or I remember when I used to see this happen when I was a kid or whatever, and have those moments with my kid as well. Time-wise, like if I was like an era or a time where I would be like, oh, I would like to go back and like relive or experience, I don't know. I feel like everybody always wants to go back to the younger years.
Yeah.
You know, I think high school was something that I definitely enjoyed. I had fun academically. I was excelling.
Which, like, is so funny. For me, I can care less about that time.
Yeah,
you know, it's so funny how it's just different for everybody.
Yeah,
you know,
but I'm going through eras. So, you know, like high school's an era that if I had a great time in high school. There's other people that had horrible experiences in high school. It's traumatizing for them to relive that. You know, after high school, I had a newfound freedom, and I was able to do what I wanted, go where I wanted to go, and I was still very active in church, and I was still, you know, working and being academic as well. You know, but there was just this new freedom that I got with that. That's a time in my life that I definitely enjoyed, and I can't, being a dad and a husband with responsibilities, that freedom is something that's like, oh, that's kind of cute to be able to go back to a time and a place where you just did whatever you wanted with your money, with your time, your energy. So, you know, you have little moments where you reflect and you think about certain things. I don't really reminisce. At least for me, I don't really reminisce. I think I look more ahead, and that sounds very cliche. But it's just the idea of things that I would like to do and things that I would like to achieve, and, you know, waiting for certain things to line up a certain way in my life, because then I see that as a green light to be like, all right, now we can do this, and now we can do that. So yeah,
I love the idea of what you said of looking ahead, because that's like kind of where I was going to go. My next point, you know, when you reach these ages or like, you know, different milestone moments in your life, I think the future is really what's on your mind, right? Like, what is next for me? What am I going to do now? what is the next thing I'm going to accomplish? And, when I think about just certain things that I've been able to do and certain goals I've been able to reach, it's great. And I love what I've been able to accomplish and all of that. But I feel like there's still a lot of things that I haven't gotten the chance to do yet that I really want to do, that I really want to make it a priority, right? So I think, I kind of started this as well with making a list of just certain things that I want to see, whether certain things I want to see happen around me, certain things I want to see happen for myself, certain opportunities that I would want, certain things that I want to do, goals that I want to reach. And I encourage you that if you are, approaching a birthday or approaching a new chapter in your life, or even if you're just tired of kind of what you're experiencing and what you're going through and you feel the need to project into the future and think about the future, I think you don't need to turn, a new age to do that. You can do that even now, but make a list. Make a list of your goals, make a list of the things that you want to accomplish and stick to that list. And if you're a planner, come up with a way where it's like, okay, how am I going to get this done? Right? How am I going to, do this particular project or, this particular hobby I want to pick up? Like, how am I going to start? Yeah. Right? How am I going to put myself out there? So I think it always begins with a plan and a decision for you to actually execute that thing. Yeah. You need to really sit down and think about, what is it that I want to see in this next decade? What is it that I want to accomplish in these next years of my life? And now come up with a plan and now stick with that plan. Yeah. And stick with that plan where now it's like, I'm going to take the steps I need to take. I'm going to find the resources that I need. I'm going to do what I need to do to make this a reality for me.
Yep. Absolutely. And it was funny because before we started recording, I was like, I wonder if there's like a meaning behind 35 or if there's like a color, because they do this for like weddings and do this for everything. The Bible, everything has a meaning and a symbolism and a something. So the meaning for 35 is, people say it's a wake up call to challenge and change your life. 35. So I think that's really cool, and it's funny because it's kind of where I was headed. It's my 35. The color for 35 is coral. Which I thought was cute. We had coral in our wedding, so it gives me that little flashback. You were there.
I was.
You wore coral. But coral is the color of warmth and acceptance. Coral doesn't possess many unlikable qualities. It may be a little irresponsible at times. That's not true. Wow. That is not true. For me, for you maybe.
Colors can be irresponsible.
I guess it's just like the meaning behind it. Like it someone that this is a time where that's that color that I like identifies the stage in your life. This is all hocus pocus stuff that doesn't mean anything. No, don't say that. Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled. But it has good intentions. In fact, it seeks to uplift others with optimism. In addition to its upbeat spirit, it's also welcoming, distinct, and ahead of its time. So at the end of the day, it could have said it's all the negative stuff. But I thought it was just funny, and I think that sometimes
what's
people,
for 30?
I don't know. Look it up. I think it's green or something like that. Read it. I don't know. You wanted me to do your work too?
No, I thought you looked it up. That's why.
No, I did it. Okay. That's a quick little thing or whatever.
But no, I think it's funny because people do associate certain moments like that.
All right, green. The color of harmony and health. Green is generous, relaxing. Oh my God, relaxing color that revitalizes our body and mind. It balances our emotions and leaves us feeling safe and secure. Wow. It also gives us hope with the promise of growth and prosperity. Yes. It provides a little bit of luck to help us along the way.
Yes.
Wow. Very.
Yeah.
You could have did a couple of laps. But yeah, I think, and these are all like things. It's funny because I feel like there's a lot of people that so witchcraft, there's a demonio, there's divination, there's all this stuff or whatever. But then there's times where it's like a cute little like thing, like, oh, that's cute or whatever. You keep it moving. I'm not like, now I'm only gonna wear coral and I'm gonna paint my car coral my nickname is
your nickname is coral.
My nickname is coral now. No more Eddie G. It's coral. No, but I think it's also like little things that also help you like center yourself in a way and like really like be like, oh, you know what, that's good. I really would like that for this new stage in my life to like enter into a place of prosperity and a place of things going going great and positively in my life. And then for me to be those things where people see me as someone who is positive, someone who is accepting, someone who's a safe space for people, to be more of an upbeat spirit. We've talked about this a bunch of times where I can come off very stoic or like very like closed off a little bit because in my mind I'm having the time of my life, but externally it doesn't look that way. So you know what, be a little bit more upbeat for 35, and and you show that side of you. You know, I think at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with setting up goals for you to achieve, especially if you're looking to turn your life around, if you're looking to improve relationships, if you're looking to improve your relationship with God, if you're looking to have a better relationship with yourself, if you're looking, like you said, to release that inner child and to do things that are more fun for you, set those goals for yourself. And do it. No, you don't have to wait for your birthday to come around. But if you want to use that as the catapult, as the jumping board for that new stage in your life, go ahead and do it. Why not? Don't let anyone make you feel like that's kind of dumb. It's not. It's exciting.
And at the end of the day, also, God should be that priority. So it's like, bring these plans to him, right? And I hope that, at least for me, I know it's like, taking that step to, wanting to be closer to God and reaching a different, level in him and a different facet of who he is and all of those different things, right? Where that should also be a desire in your heart, right? In this new chapter of life, in this new decade of life, in this new era of your life, right? Where God and you are just in a deeper relationship than you were before. And I think that ultimately, as Christians and believers, that is our goal. That is our heart's desire. That yes, it's great to accomplish all of these things in our life. And yes, it's great to, set yourself up for success and accomplish things and reach your goals and dreams and ambitions. But if God is not in it, it really is a waste, right? If God is not with you, if you don't feel him, if you don't have that relationship with him, then it really is a waste and there is a void in your life. So I think in this new era of life, in this new chapter of life, right, it may be more of the same, just on a different level. It may be just, you making small changes in your life and making small decisions that ultimately will impact your future and be greater in your future. Whatever it is, take some time to think about it, seek God and ask him, Lord, what is it that you want from me in this next chapter? What is it that you want from me in, these next few years of my life, or even this year? Some of you may need to do this with this month. Yeah. What is it, Lord, that you want me to do this month or this summer, right? And I know that when you take the time to do that, God does answer and God does clarify and God does bring things to mind that maybe you would have never thought of. You would have never, thought that was even a possibility, but it's something he had for you. So be open, to those things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, at the end of the day, as a wrap up, here's our Venmo so you can send us gifts. No, imagine. For our birthdays. But no, just celebrate life, celebrate with yourself, celebrate with the people around you. At the end of the day, every birthday is a gift that God gives us. It's Absolutely. An opportunity for us to just be better, do better, position ourselves into better places for our lives and those people that we're connected with, and just have fun. Look into really, taking a year. If you're a workaholic, look into taking a break. If you're someone who has a lot of goals and wishes that they want to do but hasn't really taken that leap of faith to do it, go ahead and do it. Make sure that you make this year your year that really puts you in a position of greatness. Come on, let's achieve greatness in each and every one of our lives.
Definitely. So we hope today you are encouraged, motivated, and inspired. If you're on your way to work, go and crush it today at your job. If you're on your way to school, go and learn. And if you're listening to us, right before you go to bed, may you take some time to just reflect and think and ask God to really put those things in your heart and give you that drive and motivation that you need.
Yeah.
So happy birthday to us.
Yes.
And
happy birthday.
We will catch you in our next episode in 2 weeks, right? We're releasing in our summer schedule every other week. So definitely subscribe. Be sure to follow us at God Life Culture Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Watch us on YouTube and continue to share and like our posts and interact with us on our social media pages. And we will catch you in our next episode.
Yeah, so thank you once again for tuning into the latest episode of the God Life Culture Podcast. That's God Life Culture. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.